So, good afternoon, everyone. It is June 25th, 2026, on this lovely Thursday afternoon. I hope everyone is having a great day and a great week for that matter. Just a little tiny bit of housekeeping before we go ahead and get started with our webinar. Um, if you are an affiliate of Keep Florida Beautiful and Keep America Beautiful, just a quick reminder that June 30th, that is 5 days away, is the last day that you can spend your DOT money. Not July 1st, not July 2nd, June 30th. If you have not spent all your money and you still need to spend money, please call me. I will help you if you need help or advice. If you've got 50 bucks left, go to Walmart and pick up paper for your computer, whatever you need. Use your money, please, 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 please. Um, and then we're looking at a July 15th date for your last reimbursement. So please send that in to Dana and get that in quickly and swiftly. I also sent out an email last week, maybe early this week, asking that if you are interested in 2026, 2027 solicitation, please fill out that paperwork. It's just like a one-line page, very quick. It's on an Excel spreadsheet. I will be sending it out again, if not today, probably on Monday. So do not forget to do that. Um, in case you didn't see the email or you're not aware, yes, we are aware the KFB website is down right now. We're having some technical difficulties. Our domain is having some issues, which means that Kaylee and I can send emails, but we cannot receive them. Okay. So I know you're getting emails from us still. If you need something, call us. Okay. You have our numbers, and I will even include them in the chat just in case for some reason you don't have it. Please call me if you need anything. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you all for being here. We're really excited. This is a webinar that I think or a topic that I think that everyone has been on everyone's mind for several years now, and something that we've been hoping to find solutions for. So I want to introduce Eric Ascalon. He is with Terracycle. Most of you have met him. If you've been to one of our conferences, Eric is a regular within the KFB sphere. So today he's going to be talking about vapes and vape recycling. He is the Global Director of Community Affairs and Strategic Partnerships. And Eric, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time and efforts with Terracycle. And I saw Karina is also in the chat, so I appreciate you being here as well, Karina. And Eric, I will go ahead and let you take it from here.
Thanks very much, Sherry. I really appreciate your invitation to speak to everyone today. I see a lot of familiar faces or familiar names on the screen here. Before I forget, I just want to let everybody know that in the chat, I just left my email address. So please copy that and put it somewhere. Anytime you have any questions about this program or any TerraCycle programs, feel free to send me an email. No matter what it is, I'm happy to try to answer it. So that's in the chat, as well as in the chat above where I left my email. You'll see a link to I think it's a Google form. Please fill that out if you're potentially interested in the vape recycling program. That way we can email you updated information, and we also have a discount code that I can send off to folks that are interested in purchasing the vape buckets. So I want to start really quick. I have a quick video that I want to share that is just a brief tour of our of Terracycle's MRF. Now, Terracycle, our headquarters is in Trenton, New Jersey, but our main MRF, our material recovery facility, is actually in Aurora, Illinois, in the Chicago area. And let me share this brief video so you can see what that looks like.
Nearly unrecyclable is not a futuristic idea. That's thanks to innovation happening right now in the western suburbs that could help Chicagoland reduce waste. Plastic and aluminized chip bags. Tens of thousands of contact blister packs. Used bath products, cosmetics, children's toys, even cigarette butts, all packed into a 140,000 square foot facility in Aurora. You name it, Terracycle is working to recycle and reuse what was once thought of as unrecyclable. While there are companies focused on recycling single products, for example, recycling just batteries or only cosmetic products, Terracycle claims it is the only company working to recycle hundreds of waste streams.
Terracycle now, across 20 countries, is focused on how do we eliminate the idea of waste.
Tom Zaki is the CEO of the recycling company working to take what would normally be landfill waste and bring it back to the consumer ecosystem. The money to do it comes through brand underwriting, corporate and municipal partnerships, and paid consumer programs. Terracycle gets about 800 to 1,000 of these boxes delivered to this facility in Aurora every single day, full of items that would normally end up in a landfill but can be recycled, like these used coffee pods and so much more.
Dirty diaper recycling or cigarette butt recycling, the cost of collecting this and transforming that into new materials way outweighs the value of those materials. So the solution is we have to get folks to pay for it.
The need for a more circular, ideally zero-waste system is here. According to data from the city of Chicago, in 2022, city households only recycled 9.1% of the nearly 878,000 tons of waste that year. For suburban Cook County in 2022, households recycled just 18% of the over 1 million tons of waste. Here in Aurora, Terracycle's largest single hub takes in waste from all over the country to be weighed, scanned, and sorted before being sent to facilities to turn these items into their most basic components, crushing, sanitizing, melting down, and repurposing plastics and polymers, fibers, paper-based pulps, alloys, and other metals.
When you see a bale like this, I mean, what goes through your mind? Because where would this end up if it wasn't here at Terracycle?
Both looking at this bale and looking up around our facility, all this material would have ended up in the landfill if we were not here. So to see that mark and that impact that we're making is just so satisfying.
Bharat Kasatu is Terracycle's Senior Director of North American Operations.
Chip wrappers, chopping bags, anything what we call as mixed flexible plastic is our #1 stream that we get here.
Zaki calling on buyers to vote for the environment with their dollars.
How do we help waste have a better solution than what you have today? So at minimum, if you're going to buy an object, let's make sure that you can recycle it. But then let's also maybe rethink how the object is made and maybe even how you consume it so that the idea of garbage disappears.
There are completely free programs you can participate in by going to Terracycle.com that are underwritten by agreements with brands, and the company just opened a drop-off hub in South Suburban Cook County, South Holland.
Watch breaking.
Okay, so so that is our as I mentioned, our main hub in Aurora. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up my my presentation deck. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on Terracycle, share with you some interesting projects we've been doing, and then shortly I'll get to the heart of today's presentation, which is going to be about vape and e-cigarette recycling. And when I say vapes and e-cigarettes, for the purpose of this call, I'm really using the term interchangeably, although there are some technical differences between the items and how they're used, but we're going to use them interchangeably. So Terracycle, as I mentioned, based in Trenton, our main MRF for North America is in Aurora, Illinois, but we work globally in 18 countries. And what we do is we specialize in coming up with solutions on how to recycle waste streams that traditionally can't be recycled. So we have in our Trenton offices, we have our research laboratories, and we have material scientists that work with all kinds of packaging and products and figure out how to recycle them. And then we work to fund these programs through a combination of methods. We work with consumer brands, for instance, to fund consumer waste streams. We have paid programs for everything from regulated waste to things like light bulbs, e-waste, batteries, and so forth. And then we also offer services to all kinds of manufacturers to recycle high volumes of things. Like, for instance, when a toothpaste company changes a label, they might literally have a warehouse full of the old toothpaste tube stock. And traditionally, that would just wind up in incinerators or landfills. But we have the ability to recycle that. And then we have supply chains across all our material types where we'll work with manufacturers that want to use recycled materials and integrate them into their products. Terracycle, we work with over 40,000 clients worldwide. And because we really are the world's experts on hard to recycle waste streams, we serve on advisory boards for a whole bunch of leading research organizations, NGOs, and so forth, such as some of the ones you see here. And over the years, we've won over 200 awards for sustainability. I think the one we're most proud of is our work on coming up with processes to recycle ocean waste, which we've done through a collaboration between our material scientists and those of Procter and Gamble. And for these efforts, the United Nations gave us their Momentum for Change Award a few years ago. Now, to sum up what this is all about, everybody's familiar. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and the ocean waste crisis and so forth. And there are a lot of great organizations and governments that are working to clean up that waste and also stop new waste from entering our oceans. But one of the fundamental problems is when that waste is collected, it tends to be too degraded from being out there sometimes for years in salt water and exposed to the sun. So it tends to be too degraded to be recycled through traditional means. So what we did with Procter & Gamble's research scientists is come up with formulations and methodologies that will allow that ocean plastic to be recycled and then integrated into consumer packaging, such as the Head & Shoulders bottle you see on the right, that in turn then becomes curbside recyclable. So we're taking something that's completely out of circularity and bringing it back into circularity. We've got a really cool design team at Terracycle that does a lot of work to bring interesting and innovative recycling projects, largely to educate and inform. This example here is for the Paris Olympics. We created all of the Olympic podiums out of litter that was collected from beaches and parks throughout France, and we did a similar project prior to that during the Tokyo Olympics. A little closer to my own home, this is the Philadelphia Union Soccer Stadium. We created this giant 15-foot tall soccer ball that's made out of bottles and cans that were collected from the stadium, which is the first soccer stadium in the US to go zero waste. And more recently, Netflix commissioned us to create Coco the Octopus. Coco is created out of beach litter, and we were commissioned by Netflix to create Coco to help promote their new documentary series, Our Ocean. As I mentioned, Terracycle specializes in recycling those things that can't traditionally be recycled through normal processes. We don't deal in your typical bottles and cans and things that are curbside recyclable in those places that offer curbside recycling. Everything that we recycle, we have very thorough tracking, and we go through regular audits from Bureau Veritas, which is a third-party audit agency, to assure that everything we say we do. And then we also undertake life cycle assessments for a variety of waste streams that we recycle. We don't want to just recycle for the sake of recycling. We want to make sure that when we do create a recycling program, that the environmental benefits are greater than the alternatives of incineration or landfill. And in all our programs, we offer a recycling guarantee, which is something that traditional waste haulers typically don't do. And you have the ability to track all the recycling that you undertake with Terracycle through a dashboard, and you could integrate all that data into your own sustainability reports, into your recycling waste diversion reports, and in your public communications and PR and so forth. We do a lot of universal waste recycling for e-waste and things like that, hard to recycle waste streams. Some quick case studies, and we'll get to vapes. In the state of Maine, we do all of their EPR recycling for the e-waste stream. We've done large-scale projects involving solar panel recycling, battery recycling, and then we work with townships on setting up processes for hard-to-recycle materials and regulated waste. We host in certain geographies, we can put together household hazardous waste events, and we work directly with transfer stations on a lot of these waste streams. And in those areas where there's not curbside recycling, we create what are called recycling hubs, like the one you see here, which is located in Cook County, Illinois, which allow people to, where they don't have curbside recycling, to show up and easily sort a variety of traditional and hard to recycle waste streams. And we recently did a project, a recycling hub project for Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. At their, which is during their peak season, they see between 4,000 and 5,000 visitors a night at their camping areas and RV parks. And we collaborated. This was a collaboration between Terracycle and Keep America Beautiful. And Keep America Beautiful just issued a report and on basically looking back and seeing how this helped succeed in waste diversion, and it was absolutely it was absolutely staggering, the increase in things that were recycled at Grand Teton and diverted from landfill following the first season of deployment, which was last summer. And now we're into the second season, and we're hoping to replicate these projects with other national parks and state parks. So if you have a park in your jurisdiction that could benefit from something like this, please let me know. We'd be happy to look into it. And the great thing about these projects is both these hubs that we do are typically funded through grants. So in the case of the Grand Teton project, it was a grant from the National Park Foundation, and in the Cook County project I showed you before was a federal America Rescues grant following the pandemic. If you've ever seen me, you've heard me talk about our free cigarette program. So I encourage you, if you're not already participating in our free cigarette butt recycling program, please reach out to me and I'll get you all the details. It's an amazing program. We're going on almost 1 billion cigarette butts to date recycled through this program. And it's been very effective and at eliminating one of the most littered item on the planet, and helping to incentivize its proper cleanup. We work with many KAB affiliates and Keep Florida Beautiful affiliates. I think our #1 affiliate in Florida on this program is Key West, which I think at the time of the last conference in Coconut Grove, they had just reached 1 million cigarette butts recycled through their participation. Okay, now on to vapes. There's some great news we heard from the Keep America Beautiful National Litter Study, the most recent one that came out a couple months ago, and that is cigarette litter is down. It's down by a huge amount, something like 60% since their last study 5 years ago. So that's great news. The not so great news is that as cigarette litter has gone down, we're seeing an increase in e-cigarette litter and vape litter. It's really staggering the volume of vapes that enter the environment or landfill every single day. Every single second in the United States, 5.7 disposable vapes are thrown away. That's every single second. That works out to about 180 million e-cigarettes discarded annually in the US. And it's a very, very challenging waste stream because these e-cigarettes and vapes contain a mix of plastics, metals, and of course, lithium-ion batteries. Plus, they contain nicotine, if they're not THC vapes, which create acute toxic, which constitute an acute toxic hazardous waste. So there's a lot of regulatory complexity for this waste stream. And there's a lot of safety issues involving this waste stream because of those lithium-ion batteries. If they're thrown out in the regular trash or if they wind up in regular recycling bins, they can cause fires when they're crushed or broken apart. On an annual basis, according to the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, there's roughly $95 million in damage to waste facilities and property as a result of these things. And the other thing about this is, traditionally these things are just tossed out. Either they're littered, they're tossed out in the trash, or in occasions where townships and counties get a hold of these and do the right thing, they would treat them as hazardous waste. Then they would typically be incinerated in a hazardous waste facility. Now, when that happens, no matter how it's disposed, if it's not being recycled, collectively, there are enough batteries from these disposed vapes to power over 3,000 electric vehicles. And we all know that lithium it's a rare material that it's very environmentally destructive to mine for this, and there's a huge global shortage of the material. So if we're able to reclaim the lithium batteries from vapes, we could help account for up to 3,000 EV batteries every year. Oop. I'm sorry, can you guys still hear me? I hear something.
We can hear you, Eric.
Okay, great, thanks. So at present, before this program, there were very limited disposal options. The reason it took so long to roll this program out in the US, and we've been working on this for a long time, is not technical. We've been recycling vapes in our Australia and New Zealand market for many years. And we've done vape recycling in Canada as well. The complexity that is not the technical recycling process, it's actually the regulations and getting approvals through the regulatory process. In order to launch this vape program, we needed layers of regulatory approval from the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, from the U.S. Department of Transportation, as well as the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So we finally, a few weeks ago, got all of the final approvals we needed and were able to launch. Now, again, with the regulation, there's no federal mandate for e-cigarette recycling. And, the EPA and the FDA prohibit the disposal of vapes and e-cigarette in standard trash or recycling, yet there is traditionally no good way to do it. And like I said, the only way before this program to really do it properly and legally is through treating it as hazardous waste, in which case it would be incinerated. So Terracycle actually has, we have our recent launch is for post-consumer vapes. So this is essentially used vapes, and it's specifically for nicotine vapes, but we're also finalizing regulatory approval for a pre-consumer program for unused e-cigarettes and vapes. And you might be asking, well, what would a pre-consumer program do for me or for your jurisdiction? Well, there are literally tons of unused vapes that are seized every year from law enforcement, from health departments, from tax departments, that are either illegal product or sold by unlicensed vape stores and so forth. So, we've spoken to a lot of regulators over recent years who have stockpiles of this stuff that they've seized, and they don't know what to do with it. So once that pre-consumer product launches within the next few months, we'll be able to recycle all of that. And that's done actually through what's called this is pretty technical, but it's the RECRA is federal environmental law, and we we're able to kind of get an exemption from treating something as hazardous waste if we if it's unused and we could reclaim the components. So it's called reclamation. So it's a reclamation process. That's a little different under the regulatory scheme that we're recycling our post-consumer vapes. Post-consumer vapes are recycled through federal household hazardous waste regulation. So this is the same type of regulation that allows, for instance, consumers, residents to drop off paints and other chemicals used in the house at household hazardous waste events, and it allows municipalities within within the regulations to treat these materials as something other than normal hazardous waste. So basically, the vapes would be treated the same way. The collection method, there's a couple possible ways that the mechanics for collecting these vapes. We utilize a prepaid, essentially a vape bucket, similar to we've all seen like battery bucket programs for battery recycling. Well, the vape bucket when you order one, and it's available in several sizes, it would come to you in a package that has a return label on it. And when you filled up the vape bucket, then you just seal it, put it back in the original box, and FedEx will take it to our material recovery facility, where we'll recycle it. So that's one solution. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to disassemble the vapes. We're going to reclaim the raw materials, the metals, the plastics. And those lithium batteries are also going to be recycled, and that's really key to to this program. All the vapes that you recycle through our program, you're going to have access to automated tracking, destruction certificates, and reports. And one of the best things about this program is that if your municipality or county is treating this stuff as hazardous waste, then there's an enormous expense associated with disposing this stuff at hazardous waste facilities. And there's a lot of paperwork and ramifications when you're dealing with hazardous waste, because this is under the household hazardous waste exemption. It's actually going to be cheaper than incinerating it as hazardous waste. So you're able to treat these in a more sustainable way, recycle them, and all the benefits that go along with that. Not incinerating them, and then you're going to in turn save money in the process, which is pretty unique. For large scale pickups, so let's say you're a decent sized city and you do some kind of household hazardous waste event where you're collecting, like, say, pallets full of vapes. We can collect, or we can handle them logistically through a freight-based model. So you could reach out to us and we can arrange a pickup. But for most municipalities and counties and organizations like KAB and Keep Florida Beautiful, affiliates that participate and that are recycling vapes from the community or from litter cleanups and so forth, the bucket program is probably going to be the most convenient and the optimal solution. So there are many environmental benefits to recycling vapes and e-cigarettes rather than incinerating them or tossing them out as trash, and certainly littering them. We're reclaiming critical minerals, namely lithium, which is going to reduce the need to mine for more lithium. And lithium is a very environmentally destructive mining process. By recycling the battery materials, it's going to generate significantly lower CO2 emissions. And then, of course, the safety implications. Fewer vapes within our trash systems and our curbside recycling systems when they're erroneously placed there means fewer facility fires. And by diverting these products from incineration, we're reducing air pollution. And then on the regulatory side, if you're handling large amounts of vapes and treating them as hazardous waste, then you risk becoming a large quantity generator And there's all kinds of environmental regulations and bureaucratic paperwork that you need to undertake if you are a large quantity generator. Treating this through our household hazardous waste exemption removes that requirement. It simplifies shipping and disposal and drastically reduces administrative paperwork. And finally, you're going to save money by recycling these through this program versus incinerating them as hazardous waste. And you're also going to mitigate against non-compliance fines and potentially insurance premium increases resulting from waste fire risks. And here is some required language. Basically, under household hazardous waste exemptions, there are some states that have more thorough or more onerous regulations than the federal governments, and those are California, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. Fortunately, Florida is not on that list. So for the most part, if you're meeting just the ordinary household hazardous waste federal regulations that this program does meet, you're in the clear in terms of your participation in this program. So that, in a nutshell, is the new program. In terms of ordering vape buckets, they're available in 3 sizes. The vape buckets start, depending on the size, they start at about $154, all the way up to the largest, which is about $450. For KAB and Keep Florida Beautiful affiliates, we can provide discounts starting at around 10%. If you're a larger city and you're buying a large quantity of these things, then I can introduce you to our sales teams on the industry side, which can provide even greater discounts. They can be ordered right from our website with a credit card, or if you email me, we can or fill out the form. We can provide a quote so that they can be purchased through a purchase order. And then, I would encourage your affiliate or your municipality to check into the availability of grant funds to cover some or all of these costs. I know that with the Keep America Beautiful's cigarette litter prevention and recycling program grants, they are giving money to affiliates that are interested in adding vapes to their litter cleanup and litter mitigation efforts. So I know they just awarded the grants for this year. But if you're interested, just keep that in mind for next year. You may be able to get a Keep America Beautiful grant for that. And those grants are pretty sizable. So they can cover, not only vape buckets. They typically also cover cigarette receptacles that we offer, but they can also cover things like manpower and education and things like that relative to your programs. And I'm not too familiar with what's available in Florida. I know a couple years ago I presented at the Keep Florida Beautiful conference together with a lady from the Florida from FDOT, and I know that there's an FDOT cigarette program or litter program that I believe municipalities and others are able to apply for. I'm not certain whether those could be used to purchase vape buckets, but it may be worth exploring that. So, any questions? I'm sure there's some questions out there. This is the first program of its kind nationwide, and we're very excited about it. We've been hearing for just a long, long time from municipalities, from waste haulers, from all different folks, that this is a real pain point of theirs, and they just don't know what to do with these things. Oh, one final thing: schools. I've spoken to many high school and unfortunately middle school principals that tell me that they have a bucket of vapes that they seized from students, at their school, and they don't know what to do with it. So, and I've been hearing that for years. Now, fortunately, they can recycle it through this program. I will say though that technically, in order to be recycled as household hazardous waste, it can't be a seized product. So principals that are dealing with students that are bringing vapes to school would need to voluntarily turn them over to the principal for recycling. So it's just, it sounds like just a minor technicality, but it actually makes a difference in terms of how the waste stream is treated. So, all right, questions. I see a hand up from Gene.
Yeah, Eric, just real quickly, do you have an idea on the events that you all have done where some of your locations have collected events? I'm interested to find out what, if you guys have the data, kind of an average per week, how many vapes are coming in. When we ran our event for 2 weeks, we got 30 pounds of vapes. I would, just from a budget standpoint, it'd be helpful to have some data to say, all right, you on an average store, you're going to get in X amount of vapes.
And that is an excellent question. And this program is so new. Right now, it's I think 3 weeks old that we've been selling these buckets like hotcakes. We haven't gotten them back yet because they're still in the process of being filled. So we really don't know yet. So this is really too new. We hope, and that's one thing I'll encourage everybody to fill out that form in the chat. I will, once we have some of that data, which should be apparent over the next few months, we'll be able to kind of create case studies around that, based on the size of the municipality, or is it a cleanup organization? Is it a municipality? Is it public works department? A lot of fire departments are purchasing these things, or municipalities are purchasing them with the idea that they will place them in fire departments, and that's where the collections would be. So that's a great idea too. So right now we just don't have that data, but hopefully over the next few months we will be able to kind of provide some guidance on what that looks like. So at the present time, I would say it's more kind of trial and error more than anything. It's going to require a little bit of collecting them, trying to just as at least a pilot on a pilot level without making a long-term commitment to the community and saying we're going to try this, bring them in, and then from there you can hopefully gather some data and collectively together with case studies that we hope to be able to provide over the coming months, you'll have a better idea.
Okay, two more quick questions.
Sure.
This program is designated as an HHW program,
Correct.
right? So if you have a smoke shop, can they go through you?
They can. They absolutely can. Private companies are able to serve as collection points for HHW. The caveat there is they can't give us their unused vapes.
Got it.
They can't send us their like expired product or unused vapes. They can only send us vapes that are collected from consumers that are used, right? Now, once we roll out that pre-consumer program, then we're going to have options for them on their expired product and so forth. But for the purpose of this program, it's for consumers. And the other thing I'll mention, and I know this comes up a lot, is what do we do with THC vapes? So this program is technically for nicotine vapes. We are working, and the process is identical in terms of recycling a nicotine vape versus a THC containing vape. Identical process. The difference is the handling and the regulations involved. So we are working on a solution for THC, but as you can imagine, the THC program, the regulations involved are even more onerous. So we're working on a fix for that, because even if it's a used vape, it's going to have residual THC in it. Now, if we get a few of these things mixed in with the nicotine vapes, that's not going to raise any alarms. It's when we get if we're getting large amounts of pure THC, then while each one has some residual collectively, if you add up all that residual, you might be getting into some serious, DEA territory. So, THC, marijuana, it's still federally illegal. So, and because this involves interstate transportation, presently we can't offer an actual THC program. But if we're talking about just residual, a few here and there that inadvertently get mixed in, I don't think that that's gonna, that's gonna be any kind of issue.
Okay, one last question, and then I'll get off and let somebody else ask a question. With the various degrees and types of vapes that are in the marketplace now, some of them you can, hook up a battery pack to it. Some of them are disposable.
Mhm.
How do you all handle the various shapes and sizes on the recycling? Are you doing it one at a time, or do you all have equipment to break it down?
So we have equipment that helps break it down, but it's largely a manual sortation process. So from what I understand, how it's going to essentially work is we're going to get a batch and they're going to be separated based on overall types. You have the little bat ones that are roughly the size of cigarettes. Those will be put in one pile. Then there are vapes out there that have video game screens built into them, that have Bluetooth capabilities. Who knows why you need a disposable product that has, that are going to have significant circuit boards, right? Well, we're going to handle those just like we handle, our e-waste. So it really, we're going to be able to sort them. It's aided through mechanics, but there's a lot of manual sortation that goes into the process, and that's largely why there are costs involved in this. We hope eventually that we might get funding from the industry, like or brands or so forth, or from organizations that can help fund this, like our cigarette program, and that's why we're able to offer the cigarette program at no cost. But if that does happen, it's not going to be near term. That might be a longer term thing. But it is very manual, labor intensive process to break these things down. Um, there's no now on the pre-consumer side, it's actually a different process, and that's going to be a little more mechanical, kind of aided um, by uh, by machines. So.
All right, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Jean, for your really great questions. I also have questions, but I'm going to open it up to the floor first. Does anyone have any questions? You can either just start chatting or raise your hand. All right, while everyone is thinking, Eric, so the buckets, I know you said there's 3 different sizes.
Mhm.
That biggest size that's around $400, is that like a 5 gallon or is it smaller? I'm just trying to like get a
Yeah,
feel
that
for like how big are the buckets?
so the sizes are, the biggest is a 5 gallon,
Okay.
the medium is I think a 2.5 gallon, and the small is a 1.5 gallon.
Okay, cool. Oh, thank you, Karina, for Karina actually in the chat, she went ahead and posted that. So like the link to like paying for them. So you can kind of get a feel for it. That's great. Um, and to Jean's point, I know they're so variable on size and shape. Do you guys have like an estimate of like how many vapes typically you can cram in a 5 gallon bucket?
Yeah,
I'm just
we
thinking for just general thoughts.
so that's also going to vary a lot based on the size. Like if you're talking about the little cigarette size,
Mhm.
the bat vapes, you're going to be able to cram a lot of them into even a 1.2, 1.25 or 1.5 gallon. If you're talking about the ones with the video game screens built in, then not so many. And I think we have some rough calculations, but it's so varied that I think I'd like to kind of wait as these things come in and get more average
So
data
are you guys,
before.
you'll be tracking that, like how many vapes in each
Absolutely.
bucket?
Yeah.
That's cool, because
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think that's worth noting and kind of that way people know like, oh, well, a 1 gallon isn't worth the money compared to the five
Yeah.
gallon. Like, yeah, we'll have it for a full year, but cost wise, maybe that's more affordable.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, the difference is just the difference in the volume that these things take up is just phenomenal. Like those, like I said, like the cigarette ones. Well, you can in a pack of cigarettes, you can put 20 cigarettes in a really condensed size. But as soon as you start getting into those big ones, and
Mhm.
I don't think we don't know enough about how, what what size vapes we're gonna most frequently be seeing.
Yeah,
So we'll. Again, if you fill out that form, once we have a better idea, we'll provide some tighter estimates.
that's great. Thank you. I also want to note to all the affiliates that I know our contract with DOT is ending or is in the process of ending right now, but you can use DOT money to purchase these
Mm.
buckets. So that is an option for you, whether you have $154 left in your grant. If not, next year this is something that you could consider buying, a 2.5 gallon or 5 gallon bucket and start sending those in to Terracycle if that's something that your organization is interested in doing in the future. So, other questions?
So, okay, so I just got a thanks, sir. So the data we have is like a 5 gallon bucket on average. And again, this is preliminary and it may change. On
Mhm.
average, you're talking
Of
about
course.
155 vapes, a
Ah,
2.5 gallon bucket, 75 vapes, and a 1.25, about 30 vapes
okay, cool.
but I think we're gonna see, I think that's gonna, we're gonna have some
Adjust.
adjustments as this gets by.
That's great.
Um,
That's really good.
and again, like you can order these with a credit card right from our website from the link that Karina shared. But oh, actually, if you're gonna order them from the website, you can use the promo code VAPE10, VAPE 10, and that will give you a 10% discount on whichever, whatever quantity, whichever sizes you want. So enter that when you check out. And if you do want to, if you do need to order by a purchase order, just shoot me an email at the email address I put in the chat, eric.ascalon@terracycle.com, and let us know, what sizes, how many you want, and then we'll provide a quote and then get you into our system so we can take a PO.
Great. Thank you, Eric.
Hi, Eric. It's Carlos from Alachua County.
Hey, how are
Uh,
you?
Good, good. I hope you're doing well. Glad to have met you at the last
Yeah.
KFB conference. But I have a comment, I mean, a question that can maybe lead into other questions. But you were mentioning that there are recycling programs in other parts of the world. When it comes to vapes, if I was remembering correctly, how have things been going with those areas with the vape recycling program in particular, when it comes to the main concern for haulers or MRFs being fires that can be related to the batteries being crushed? Just curious as to how that's going, because for us in our area, we're trying to help divert vapes by collecting them and then getting them to hazardous waste at this moment until we're able to recycle them.
Mhm.
So just curious to see how things are going in other parts of the world when it comes to fire mitigation and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I know that in the Australia, New Zealand market, this has been a program that's been going on for many years. I don't have any specific data, or I would like to. I could connect with our team there to see if they have, if they have any data. I believe that the program in Australia and New Zealand is a brand sponsored program that is works a little differently. I think it only accepts a specific brand of vape products. So I think it's going to be a little different than what we're seeing with this program, which is just basically for any type of nicotine vape. But I'll reach out to them and I'll see if I can get any data, and then I'll be happy to share it with you all, or for all of you who fill out the form, I can send an email out and update with that information if I get anything relevant. Uh, Program in Canada too is the other place where we have, that's a very relatively new program also, and it is a brand specific program. So I don't know if there's any useful data from that yet, but I'll find out.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? You can even pop them down in the chat if you don't want to chat, if you don't want to talk. No? All right. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. Karina, thank you for your time. We really do appreciate all that you guys do for Keep Florida Beautiful and all of our affiliates. We love interacting and seeing all the really great things that you guys are doing at Terracycle and how that can be of service to us in our local communities. So thank you again.
Thank you again, Sherry, and thanks for everybody. And please, any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop me an email. Happy to be of service. That's what I'm here for. So thank you.
Thank
Eric,
you.
I'm
Have a
sorry.
great
I'm so sorry. I looked in the chat and I was looking for the form and I did not see. Did someone redrop it for me? Let me see.
I did redrop it, but we can
Okay.
do it again.
Let me see.
Here it is. You
Okay,
get it?
I got it, Sherry. I did. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Eric, I will be in contact because I'm so
Excellent.
interested in all of these things that you have to offer. So I'll be in contact soon. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
everyone.
Thank you,
All
Sherry.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week and
too.
happy 4th of July. Happy America 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Evie,
Yes,
what read first document?
it was, oh, I have to go back to my, hold on, let me get back to it and see.
You're fine.
It was,